falling away. Maybe I just need to feel nothing to make it easier to turn away and leave. Maybe we're fanning the flame, so why do I keep holding out my hand to get burned? I don't wanna clash anymore. I can hear the ghosts in the walls. It's telling me to run away, away, yeah. I don't wanna crash anymore. I can hear the ghosts in the walls. It's telling me to run away.
Hey, what's up, Exiles? Today I'm going to introduce you to my cast on crit spark build that absolutely uses no infusions, and it's going to be broken up into a couple of different stages. This is going to be the first, I'll call it stage 1 of the build, where it's kind of like the starter gear. Really the only expensive piece of gear is going to be the Adziri's Acuities. And it works and operates absolutely phenomenal. First off, I think one of the important things is that since this is kind of a starter build, the budget is trying to be closer to 2 div or less. Maybe a couple of exalteds more, maybe a little less. Honestly, the biggest cost is the Adziri's Acuities, and I would almost call those a mandatory on this build just because of the leech being instant. Other than that, for being a starter build, the gear is relatively cheap. Once again, the links and trade links, all the stats and stuff will be down in the bottom of the description below. So for your one, you're going to want to look for spell damage and cast speed. I obviously don't have crit on this one, but crit would also help out quite a bit. For the helm, you're going to want to find something with like 300 plus ES, 20 plus crit, resistances. If you can get some max life on there, that would be great. Choir of the Storms, higher level that you possibly can. This is level 19. For a focus, you're going to want about 40 plus crit, plus 3 to level all skills. If you can afford cast speed, crit damage multi as well. At the time of recording this, these were plentiful, relatively cheap. They were around 15, 20x, maybe even cheaper. I'll also include how to craft one of these. It is a little bit of RNG, but it could also be a cheaper option if you're looking for that. For the rings, you're going to want percentage lightning damage, some max life, resistances, cast speed if you can afford it. These rings that I have on, well, one of these is just a throwaway, obviously for the demonstration of being cheap. This ring is kind of for stage 2, so I'm actually going to take this off because it's not really fair. It's actually a pretty decent ring. That one will cost a little bit extra, I think. I don't remember how much it is, but for the purpose of the video, as it being starter gear, I'm just going to kind of remove it. And then, of course, Adziri's Acuities. Look for like at least 45% crit or so if you can. That's really the only thing that is kind of important. For the rune slots, just fill in the resistances the rest of the way. And for the belt like it, you just want max life and fill in some resistances as well. For the boots, I'd say look for 30% minimum movement speed, about 90% resistance, spread out between 2, maybe even 3, and life if you can afford it on top of the boots. Other than that, gear is pretty cheap. The charms that I'm running is immune to ignite, freeze, and bleeding. seems to work out really nice. You don't have to run the unique ones. I just happen to find these as I've been playing or leveling. And then for your weapon swap, find or buy a chiming staff with the highest level of sigil power that you can afford. They're relatively cheap. You can probably find one of these on the ground. And now onto the gem links. Life Remnants with Remnant Potency 3. Harmonic Remnants 2. Inside of Sigil of Power, I'm running Magnified Effect and Prolonged Duration. I just realized that this is a 1 and not a 2, so I'll probably swap that out later. Same with Magnified Effect. Inside of Lightning Bolt, we're going to run Elemental Focus, Deliberation, CoC Effect, and Lightning Mastery. Inside of Spark, we're going to do Rapid Casting, Pierce 3, Mobility, and Projectile Acceleration 3. For the purpose of the video, I'm not going to be using the 5th link, just to show it's kind of a cheaper starter build. Don't pay any attention to the Arctic Armor, that was just for some testing. And on the cast on crit, we're going to be using Arc, Deliberation, Boundless Energy 2, and another Arc. If you can get quality on them, it helps out. Obviously, you use the highest level of gems that you possibly can as well. Teaser for stage 2 of the build obviously uses a dueling wand with the highest level of spell slinger that you possibly can. I got really lucky with this one and crafted this myself. Wish it had crit, but I kind of substituted a little bit of crit for the rune slot. In this one, this is where I would do the Frostwall and Comet. It works out really well. As you're casting with spell slinger, you're gaining energy for your meta gem, and it's basically stored and you can release it whenever you want. I run it with Boundless Energy and Energy Capacitor, so in this way I can drop 2 Frost Walls and 2 Comets. When I come across a rare that my Spark and Lightning Bolt's not immediately killing, I drop this as I'm casting Spark at the same time, and the rare just immediately dissipates. So that's kind of like a teaser for part of stage 2. I'll include some footage of that at the very end, along with the crafting and the focus, like I had said. Stage 2 gets much more powerful. Obviously the cost starts ramping up, but stage 1 will allow you to run through and obviously start farming some currency relatively well. And now onto the tree. I'm not going to go into too much detail on the tree. This is kind of a mess. I wouldn't copy this exactly. I'll post something like a link for Mobilytics or another one of the sites and clean up the tree a little bit. But this practitioner node is really nice. Whenever you triggered a spell or skill, you have 33% increased crit, and obviously that compounds to your crit. I'm sitting somewhere over the 90% crit chance currently, and this just, it feels really good, especially with the Choir of the Storm. The Energize, getting some more energy for cast on crit. Obviously some more crit nodes here, damage nodes, energy shield. You don't really need to run this ingenuity node if you don't need it. It just adds 25 int, so that's another free point. Obviously int doesn't really do anything for us other than allow us to run higher level skill gems and gear, but they lowered that. Over here we got some more crit going on, more crit over here, energy shield, and then over here we got some cast speed. This obviously does use a dual weapon setup, so like I said, I'll post a link for this, and then we're going to run Storm Charge for more damage whenever we crit and more crit chance. And then more elemental damage, giving us a little bit more resistances as well. The Zealot's Oath, don't pay any attention to this for stage 1, it's not needed. And coming all the way down here to Blood Magic. So we're just casting with life. For the jewels, you're going to want to pay attention to prioritize the highest critical hit chance for spells or critical hit chance that you can. And then the second priority, I would say, is your increased maximum energy shield. If you can afford it, look for stuff with game percentage for life per kill. If you can afford even more, look for critical strike damage multiplier. That helps out a lot. But for the most part, these jewels are pretty cheap. I feel like this is kind of like the league of mirror gear, because crafting is in a much better place than it used to be. It feels really good. Other than that, this is a tree. Like I said, I'll clean it up. There's just been a lot of testing going on. I wouldn't follow it too closely, at least for the weapon swaps for the second. For the focus crafting, basically what you want to do is you want to look on the market and try to find some focuses with a decent amount of ES. You want the spell damage and obviously the crit chance. And then it becomes more of an RNG type of game. You get your essences of sorcery and you just slam it. Like here I got lucky and just remove the recharge. And on this one, I obviously did not get lucky. And from here, I'm just going to kind of leave you with a map clear with pretty much where stage 2 of the build is. It's a lot smoother. You're obviously going to watch my life. It's kind of going to bounce all over the place. And the clear looks absolutely amazing. This is still also only on a 4 support link. So enjoy. Any questions, leave a comment below. The build has an absolutely very high ceiling. We're going to look for probably 15-20 million DPS by the time we're done with this. It's going to absolutely melt T4 pinnacle bosses in a second, maybe 2. But other than that, enjoy.
Boom goes the fire, chaos in my hands, dancing through the ruins. It's my promised land.